Morning, everyone. Welcome to another Wednesday devotion that we call MRTB, Mitch Reads the Bible. We are only going to read one verse today. This is Hebrews chapter 12. I should have found it before I started talking to you. This is Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run the race with perseverance, the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and the perfecter of our faith. In this little passage, the writer of the Hebrews envisages life, or the life of faith, the life following Jesus, like a race. A running race. Now, when we think of a running race in our mind, you might be thinking of the athletics carnival, and you might be thinking maybe of, say, the 800 or the 1500 meters. And it's a little bit like that, but here in Hebrews, the Greek word that the writer of the Hebrews uses for race is a Greek word, agona. And that word, agona, is where we get our word agony. So this isn't some like easy 800 meter race or some easy 1500 meter race or an easy like 300 meter race, whatever meter race it is. This is a race that is absolute agony, that you have to put your whole self into. That's the metaphor he's using, is like an agony race, a race of agony. And the kind of race that he's talking about, we think, in Hebrews chapter 12 is the pentathlon, the ancient pentathlon. Now, here's what the end of the ancient pentathlon is like. At the end of the ancient pentathlon, after doing racing and hunting and all these kind of different things, people would wrap their hands in leather, like leather cord. They would wrap their hands in leather cord. And then at the end of the race, it was your job to beat down on your opponents, to literally beat them down to the ground until you would beat them into submission, or you'd been beaten into submission. So the race that they're talking about, or the end of the race, is not so much a running race at all, but more like a brutal UFC fight. I don't know if you guys have ever watched like UFC, but it is horrible. It is bloody. I watched one where, in boxing, where they box and when someone gets knocked down, then the umpire, like the referee, kind of comes in and makes sure he doesn't punch him. In UFC, when someone gets knocked down, the other person jumps on top of them and starts punching into their face. It's wild. Don't watch it. I just catch it sometimes if I'm at a bar or something like that. But this is the kind of image that the writer of the Hebrews is painting. He's like, sometimes the life of faith, it is like a brutal UFC fight. It's like everything is coming at you. Other people are coming at you. The devil's coming at you. Like, the race is just unbelievably hard, and it feels like you're being beaten down and down and down and down, and you don't feel like you can go on. Now, I don't know whether you feel like that. Maybe you feel like that right now. Maybe you're thinking faith is just so bleeding hard. It's horrible. Everyone's making fun of me. Everyone's pushing back on me. No one understands me. Things don't seem to be going right. God doesn't seem to be near me. It feels like the race of faith, the life following Jesus, is just so hard. It's like a UFC fight where you're beaten and bloodied on the ground. And what the writer of the Hebrews says, in those moments, what you need to do is you need to look up to the great cloud of witnesses. So what the writer of the Hebrews is imagining is, in this last moment of this race, think of a running race, in the last moment of the running race, as you're in the stadium, you look up into the stands and you see this great cloud of people in the stands. And all of them are people who've done this race before, and they are cheering you on. And they are saying, no matter how hard it gets, keep going. No matter how it gets, keep running. Keep moving. Keep going on this race, because it is worth it. And the great cloud of witnesses is full of people that were in Hebrews 11, people like Abraham, people like Moses, people like Enoch, people like Rahab. There's all these people who have run unbelievably difficult races in love for God and their neighbor, but who remain faithful right to the end. And they are saying, just keep going, keep connected to God, keep loving people. It is worth it. And that's the kind of thing that gives you strength when things are difficult. My kids had their athletics carnival the other week, and I popped in just for a minute to watch them run. their 100-meter race. And my son Leo, he actually had to run the 100-meter twice because something went wrong in the first one. But he was running his 100 meters, and we were up in the stands, literally this great cloud of witnesses watching him, watching them, all the kids, but particularly Leo in this time. And I'm up in the stands, and he starts to run his 100 meters, and he's really focused. And he gets about halfway, and he starts to slow down. And at that point, I'm in the stands, and I yell out, I go, "Go, Leo! Go, buddy! You are running so well. Keep it up!" And he looks up in the stands, and he sees me, and he gets this massive smile on his face. But because he's looking this way and running that way, he begins to just wobble all over the 100 meters, like all over the field. He's like wobbling like this, and then he doesn't, like, he finishes, late back in the field. Anyway, he got to run it again later. And in that race, he actually came first, so I didn't distract him. But after the first one, I found him, and I said, "Oh, I'm sorry if I distracted you, bud, when I called out to you." And he said, "Oh, no, Dad, I needed that. I was so tired. I needed someone just to remind me to keep running." So this devotion this morning, my friends, is me reminding you to keep going. It is worth it. Keep running. MRTB, Mitch out.